IIUSA Passport Series Roadshow Bengaluru Edition achieves great success. Bengaluru, India, 20th September 2024. The Bengaluru edition of IIUSA Passport Series Roadshow Indian edition concluded successfully on 19th September 2024, solidifying the city's status as a key hub for EB5 investors and professionals. The event brought together EB5 stockholders, including the top project developers, immigration attorney, and interested investors, to discuss the US EB5 Immigrant Investor Program and its benefits. The edition of the roadshow provided a detailed overview of EB program, which offers international investors the opportunity to gain US residency through investment in qualified US economic development projects. Attorney engaged in exclusive discussions with experts, gaining insights into the latest regulatory update and trends in the EB5 industry.
More about IIUSA, how it functions, and what are the new roles and responsibilities they are looking forward to take in the near future. Well, all yours.
Oh, man, thank you very, very much for inviting us here. We're very excited to come again and work with you here in India. It's been very successful working with you and EPMN, and we're really looking forward to it again. So IIUSA, also known as Invest in the USA, is a program, is a company that's designed to be the representative for the industry. In the United States, it's known as a not-for-profit trade association. IIUSA, the members are the largest group of funders of the EB5 program in the United States. We have the largest number of investors over the years. And IIUSA was started in the mid-2000s, and it's been a very successful industry association. So we represent the largest number of regional centers as well as the largest number of service providers in the EB5 industry. So we're very, very proud of the role that we have filled there. One of our major objectives is to work with the US Congress, and Adam's going to speak in a minute about the new law. But we work with the US Congress to ensure the longevity and the success of the EB5 program, to ensure that it meets the requirements of Congress, but also education. And we do a number of projects that are focused on the education of the industry and of investors. And we foster a sense of integrity in the industry. So again, I want to thank you again very, very much. On behalf of IIUSA, we're very, very proud to work with you, and we really look forward to being here and also in the other cities in India over the next couple of days.
Thank you.
I'm the Secretary-Treasurer of IIUSA. And I just love the work that our trade association does. Bill and I serve as officers of that trade group, but in real life we are actually competitors. And so this trade group does a great job of bringing together a lot of the competitors in the industry to advocate for just an orderly and good running of the program in the US. For example, when this new law was being drafted in 2022, Bill and I worked with one of the most well-known and best lawyers in the industry, Carolyn Lee, to serve as IIUSA's representative in negotiating the drafting of the specifics of the law. And in 2022, we ended up with an outstanding law that actually reopened the program generally and specifically for investors in India. One of the issues for Indians who might want to move to the United States on an immigrant visa is that there are very long lines for different categories of immigrant visas in the United States. What this new law did was it opened up a new line within the EB5 program that allowed Indian investors to currently get in. And those lines have been open since 2022. And Indian investors can take advantage of it by investing in certain types of projects sponsored by the EB5 program, and they will be able to get in one of the fastest ways if they choose to move to the United States. The new law created all sorts of other very good investor protections, and we're very proud of what we ended up with. And as an industry trade group, again, as friendly competitors working together, we're very proud of where the industry stands today, and we think that that can give confidence to would-be immigrants as they decide to pursue this path.
I will leave the house open for questions. You can ask the question to our panelists here.
Very, very good. It's an excellent question. Thank you very much for asking it. This is again Bill Gresser, President of IIUSA. One of the things that IIUSA does, as I said before, is an educational role. And in our education role is the Passport Series. The Passport Series is, part of that is what we're doing here today, what IIUSA is doing here today, is to provide information to investors in their home countries. So what we've done internationally is brought leaders in the industry together to speak with potential investors and other partners so that they can help understand from an education perspective what the EB-5 program can do, what it is and what it isn't, and that's how we support the process internationally is through this Passport Series.
And one of the other initiatives of one of our very talented staff, McKinsey Penton, is to create additional outlets for continuing to educate investors internationally, and those will be what are called our international forums. So in addition to being actually here present with many of us who are based in the United States for this week, we will have an ongoing presence with people in country to help to continue to educate people about the EB-5 program. So we are here this week. IIUSA is here this week in 4 cities to educate Indian investors specifically on the way in which Indian investors can move to the United States. Of course, the EB-5 program is open to investors from all countries. However, Indian investors face a very specific set of circumstances when moving to the United States, and I mentioned it a little earlier, which has to do with our immigration quota system. So if you want to move to the United States, we have quotas by country. And the EB-5 program currently is the program that allows Indian investors to be current or to be able to immediately move. There's no waiting line currently for Indian investors for some categories of EB-5. So we are here, IIUSA is here specifically to help Indian investors understand what the requirements of the program are and how it works as it does for every other country, but specifically for Indian investors to tell them about some projects in which they could invest or pursue their immigration process today to take advantage of this window that's currently open.
Informed decisions, one has to do their homework properly before making any kind of investments at the same time. Yes, sir. Over to you. Next question.
Basics for an investor or he or she to participate in the EB-5 program is what's very, very common in India is that it's oftentimes it's parents that are supporting a child, and he or she may be in India now and would like to move to the U.S., or it's a child that's currently in the United States that would like an ability or a way to stay permanently in the U.S. The requirements from the EB-5 program, the first and the most important is job creation. So in order to be successful on an EB-5 project, that project needs to create a sufficient number of new U.S. jobs for each investor in the project. The investor will also need to make an investment, and he or she makes an investment of $800,000 U.S. into that project, which is then creating the new U.S. jobs. So the two key components to the EB-5 program for the individual investor's perspective is that he or she is making the investment of $800,000 into a project, creating sufficient number of new U.S. jobs per investor. And those are the big picture requirements. There are a whole lot of other requirements that your attorney would help you with, and he or she can help you do that, as well as business advisors and local chartered accountants and things like that. But the very highest level is job creation with an investment. This is an investment visa category.
And one of the things that's special about this, that the EB in EB-5 stands for employment-based. And in this immigration category, unlike all of the other employment-based immigration categories for the United States, the investor does not have to show a special qualification or be employed in a special way. So this provides a path to getting into the United States by qualifying, not by having a job, but by creating jobs. So if you ask Bill and me and others in the industry trade group in IIUSA, we believe so much in the job creation aspect of this program. It really helps the United States create jobs, and it does so in this really special way. But investors or would-be immigrants do not need to have a special family connection to immigrate, nor do they have to have any special skill or job that they hold. They are able to move to the United States by making this investment that creates jobs for other people in the United States. $1,000 investment gets a green card or an immigrant visa for the investor's spouse, and any unmarried children who are under the age of 21. You can have 1 or 2 or 10 children. If they're all under 21 and unmarried, then the $1,800,000 investment qualifies everybody.
India doesn't allow dual citizenship. That's something I can confirm, but rest I'll leave it with Adam.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question on citizenship. The EB-5 program is designed so that when successful, an investor and his or her spouse and children under 21 are then eligible for a U.S. green card. U.S. green card is residency. It's not citizenship. It's the last step, if you will, prior to citizenship. And it's a step that if an investor and his or her children and spouse want to move to citizenship, it's a step before that. But in essence, the green card enables that person to live and work and travel in and out of the United States. So the EB-5 program isn't citizenship on its own, but rather it is residency, the ability to live and work in the United States, in order that if you would like to apply later for citizenship, you're able to.
Are there any additional charges posted?
So there are fees for your petitions, which are set by the Immigration Service. There's about an $11,000 petition fee. There are other fees for various forms throughout the process. In addition to that, privately, an investor would pay his or her immigration lawyer separately, and those fees are negotiated by the immigration lawyer. And then what you'll find in many EB-5 deals, but not all of them, but many of them, you'll find an additional administrative fee. In the EB-5 world, for various immigration reasons, there are no costs allowed to be taken out of that $800,000. But in all financial investments in the US and elsewhere, there's usually some costs. There costs some money to administer the program privately. So you may find a variable administrative fee that are charged by each of the groups in addition to the $800,000. Because it's commonly thought of, so in addition to $800,000, how much does it cost me? I do want to remind everyone that the $800,000 is not a fee or a cost. The $800,000 is an investment. So when an EB-5 participant makes this investment, that's still their property. That's their money. It's an investment. And as Mayank said, they need to analyze the merits of that investment. But when they make that investment, they would hope to not lose the investment. So when we talk about how much is EB-5, if things happen in the right way, then the investor is not losing or spending $800,000. They're investing the $800,000, which they hope to get back, and then it's the other fees that maybe are actual costs.
Okay. Well, that's a very humongous question that you asked, because we are conducting these roadshows for the last 3 years now. And definitely there has been a lot of attraction from India. That's the reason why every time we have the roadshows happening again and again in different cities, in tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities as well at the same time. But at the same time, I mean, this is an experience from an organizer's perspective. But if you want, I can of course ask Adam and Bill to answer that better. How do you think that the market is meant for India, or how is the response from India?
Sure. I think that's a terrific question. And the EB-5 program is extremely applicable to investors from India. So what we find is that India is within the top couple of countries where EB-5 investors are coming from. Many of the reasons for that is that, as Adam said earlier, the EB-5 program, the categories for Indian investors are current. So that means that an investor from India, he or she doesn't suffer a waiting line or a retrogression line as there are in so many other immigration categories. So currently, right now, the EB-5 program is extremely attractive to investors from India, and I think as a result of that, India is within the top couple of countries that you have investors coming to the EB-5 program to invest in the U.S. and help create U.S. jobs. They're from India very commonly. In addition to that, it's a very straightforward process for investors who are already in the United States, as well as for those that are in India. So I think it fills a number of objectives or hopes of the investors from India. So I believe that India will continue for quite some time to be attractive and will be one of the top users of the EB-5 program. It's EB, employment-based. So the key is that you're investing into a project. Now that may be a construction project, a hospital, it may be new homes, etc. There's a wide variety of potential investments that are eligible for EB-5, creating the jobs, etc., and that are sponsored by a regional center that would be eligible or available investments under the EB-5 program. So it is, an example is a project which is otherwise eligible, it's sponsored by the regional center, etc., that is creating those new U.S. jobs. Any number of different types of investment may be appropriate for investing into, and as Maya said, it's important to do your research, have your attorneys help you do your research and the diligence and whatnot, so that you're very satisfied. But it's a wide variety of investments that are available in the EB-5 marketplace. Does that help answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just to add, he specifically advocates for a large part of the EB-5 program, which is called the Regional Center Program. And there are a lot of things about this Regional Center Program, but one of the most important things is how we measure job creation. And it's very hard. There's a way to invest in EB-5 where you're actually counting actual real people who are working at an individual company, where you look at employment records. But what the Regional Center Program allows us to do is to count jobs in a way that uses economic science, which is commonly used in all sorts of public finance projects. And you will have heard of this here in India and everywhere around the world, which says if you build a bridge, we're not going to count the number of actual people who have hammered a nail on the bridge. But what we do is we look at the economic science of how much employment that the creation of that bridge counts. And the Regional Center Program is very special because it allows investors to count jobs in that way. And in that way, it allows people here in India to make an investment and to allow the regional center to coordinate how those jobs are counted and to report on behalf of that investor. So if Indian investors are considering this, they don't have to worry about tracking 10 employees themselves in the United States.
IIUSA, our role as a trade association, one of our primary roles is education. So you'll see a number of people set up out there with different projects they may want to talk to you about potential investments and whatnot. Those are not IIUSA's projects. They are standalone and we're not endorsing them, but rather it's part of the education mission so that a person like you can say, well, there's a wide variety of different projects, and then you would do your own diligence to determine if it meets your objectives and your requirements, your attorneys, your accountants, etc. So again, it's an education mission we have, but I think to your question, there's a wide variety out there of potential projects.
Before we take just a trailer, we're doing a small press conference. Actual conference is going to start in next 20 minutes. So you have more masala in that particular conference to get your answers for all the questions you have. So great. Last question for the day, and then we are off with the press conference, please.
Again, we can't speak enough about how we believe it's just a great actual economic stimulus program in the United States, and it creates amazing jobs. And we are real believers in this program. It's also very difficult to administer a bunch of very special rules, and you'll hear about them during the conference. So the developments over the year are really just that the program, because of the new law and the window of opportunity it opened, it has become very popular, and there are a lot of investors choosing this route for immigration. And in addition to that, as our immigration service administers the program, it's working through how to work on the new law. So what IIUSA, one of the roles IIUSA plays, is to help the immigration service work through how they administer this law. And we advocate for an orderly administration of the law. So I would say over the year, there haven't been any very big new developments. The new development was the new law in March of 2022. But since you saw us last year, the two things that have happened are that a lot more investors have come in, and we continue to advocate for the orderly administration of the law.
Landscape when it comes to investments. And also we would like to thank all our partners for this particular event, all our sponsors. When I come to partners, I would like to specifically thank the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce and the Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce for supporting in a big way and coming out and ensuring that we have right number of people and the right audience to be with. So thank you once again, and we'll be starting with the conference in exactly say about 10 to 15 minutes from now. So we look forward to meeting you again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Bill Gresser. I'm the president of IIUSA, the largest industry trade association for the EB5 Regional Center in the United States. I want to thank everyone very much, Mayank especially, and all of the sponsors who have come together to make this a very, very successful EB5 program, the Passport Series, here in India.
And I'm manager of IIUSA, and we are very pleased to be here with EPMN and really happy about the events they've organized. We're here tonight in Bengaluru, but this week we will also be in Ahmedabad and Pune and Mumbai, and we will be here to spread the word about this EB5 program, which is an excellent job-creating and economic stimulus program for the United States, while at the same time providing a viable and relatively quick path to residency within the United States.
Thank you.
As the industry trade group, we are continuing to advocate for this program. We have seen that it has been effective in the United States. It has led to the creation of more than 1.35 million jobs over its more than 30-year history. And our program is a creature of statute. And one of the things IIUSA does is to try to help our Congress, our legislature, understand what a great program this is, so that it can continue to help create jobs in the United States and to provide a viable path for residency for Indians and everyone else around the world.
Apart from last year,
An interest from Indian investors into the U.S. EB5 program. And part of our role as IIUSA, the trade association, is to provide education so that Indian individuals who may want to move to the U.S. or who have children who want to remain in the U.S. are informed and understand that this is a viable option for them and their families to gain residency in the United States.